Hey guys, welcome back to another NRL Fantasy Fanatics video. Round 12 in the bag, first buy round, and we're here with Charlie. How are you, mate?
Good as always, and after a bit of a rough round 12 for myself, let's get through it and then move on. So, starting off, we got Josh Curran at the top with 78 points from 80 minutes. And with the Dogs playing 15 and 18, I do think that Josh Curran is now a very good option at the mid-edge duel. Would you agree with me there?
Yeah, I do think I was a bit interested in him to start with, and with no Max King there, who's probably always going to get big minutes. So yeah, he's one that I was very interested in, and looks like a stellar option now to bring in.
Yeah. Moving on, Harry Hayes, 67 points from 56 minutes. He's an interesting one. I just think with the amount of mids in the game at the moment, I just wouldn't be looking at Harry Hayes. There's a lot of great mids, and I don't think he's going to pump out 60 points, 67 points from 56 minutes every week. So I'd watch another week for Harry Hayes. Similar with Donahue, Jeremy Marshall King's back soon, so I wouldn't be going Donahue. Farnworth, 55 from 80 minutes with a try in the wet. No negatives again, which is great for him. He's getting just 50 points for fun. He's going to continue to explode, and with their great buy schedule, he's still a good buy. And talk us through your man Katoa, 55 as well with Herbie, with a not much attacking for him, and still getting 55, which is always good, eh?
Yeah, he quite is playing quite well, Katoa. Pretty much all that coming in base there, and he's just doing everything for this Dolphins team on the kicking end, and yeah, he's playing incredible. I still do think he's an option, but maybe not this week with them having a bye now, and it's probably a little bit overpriced at 762K, but definitely one to be holding. He's got a stellar bye schedule there, and yeah, I know for me, I'm very happy with what he's been doing.
Yeah, fair enough. Jermaine Sarko, not an option for me. Connolly Lemuelu. This is interesting. If he gets big minutes, he's always been good, but 50 minutes isn't good enough. If he can get 60 to 70, he could be a legitimate option after this buy round, but I'm just going to wait until then. Same with Molo, don't go near him. Matt Burton, 68 minutes. Look, he's finding a bit of form, just not enough. I think he's going to continue to lose cash, but once he finds that big score, I'd be very interested in him as the half cover. But I
Personally,
know
I
he's
think
around
Matt is a
15.
very good buy next week with at 68 there. Like if he kept playing, he probably would have gone on for a 52 there. And I do think now his probably lowest score is behind him, or lowest price tag is behind him. And I mean he's missing a lot of his star players where Matt needs to do more. And I also do believe now that Matt has goal kicking with Crichton injured and gone to Origin. That Matt is quite a good buy considering that they play every major bye week here on out.
Yeah, I personally don't need a half, but if you do need half cover, Matt Burton could be a decent mid-tier option for you. Graham, no. Kickout, look, he's been a bit mid the last few weeks, just getting consistent 40s, which isn't what you want from him. He's likely going to start losing cash, but if you own him, just definitely continue to hold for sure. Finafiliaki, same thing. Wouldn't look to buy, but continue to hold. Fige avoid. Josh Kerr, avoid as well. Same with Keely. Reed Marnie, another low score. He was looking good, but just he's nothing going for Reed Marnie at the moment. He had the try assist taken away from him, but look, what would you do with Reed? Do you just wait till he gets even cheaper and maybe pick him up for a hooker cover, or are you just not going near him at all?
Yeah, well, I would definitely be holding Reed. I mean, he's got a very, very good buy schedule, and everyone needs around 15 hooker. I don't think he's terrible at all, to be fair, for to Reed. But yeah, look, I really could maybe buy him, but I think you'd have to show a little bit more if I wanted Reed to be in my team.
Yeah, fair enough. Greystone, no. Hopboy, I thought he'd be a bit of a trap, and 35 minutes is okay, but he did score the try, which significantly inflated his score. I wouldn't look to jump on him, to be honest. I'd wait another week, see if he gets a decent more role, and see what his points are like without a try. But for now, I'm avoiding him. Same with Mark Nichols, Toby Sexton as well. Avarillo at fullback. Um, look, not wasn't great. I wouldn't be looking at Alvarillo at all. You scroll down, please.
Oh, yeah.
Um, look, anyone else to talk about there? Not really, to be honest. Bronson Jerry, 16 points, rubbish. I don't think there's much to talk about in this game. Well, I think we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, it wasn't a very fantasy relevant type of game there, but yeah, I'll take us through this game here. The Eels, they're looking much better, and Dean Hawkins, he's not really an option with Mitch Moses there. He played very well, but I'd say it's probably an anomaly of a game for him, and yeah, don't be buying in. But Gus Tavanga, yeah, he had a very good game, very good base there, but the five missed tackles is all right, considering he had 15 negatives there. Do you think Jazz is a quite an interesting round 15 hooker option now?
He could be. He's getting a little expensive, and hopefully he stays. Is he still playing lock or is he not? Is he switched back to hooker?
No, he's playing
He's
lock,
still
yeah.
playing lock. Yeah, it's good. He's playing lock with Simpkin in the team. That's really promising. I don't own him, and I have Riley Smith, who doesn't play 15 or 18 or one of the two. So he
Both.
could be very interesting for me. So Jazz Tavanga, he's still got money to make, and he's getting up there expense wise, but mid hooker duel's always good. So I thought last week was the last week to buy Jazz, but look, I think you could afford to get him in this week if you really need hooker cover.
Yeah.
I only 64 points from 80 minutes with a try assist, and line break. He's starting to find some form, so anyone who has held this whole time is doing well now, so continue to hold.
I am one of them.
Simpkin, what's that?
I only hold up.
Yeah, Simpkin, 61 points from 49 minutes, from 59 minutes of 42 tackles. He could be an interesting one. I just don't think his security is good enough to bring him in. Would you agree?
Yeah, Lachlan Croker, I believe, returned off the bench there, which I do think will be a swap now. And with at 552k, I think he's a little bit too expensive to be bringing in there for me. So yeah, I would definitely be avoiding Jake Simpkin.
Moving on. Hopgood, 50 minutes. He's getting a minute increase a little bit, but the try helped him. I'm just hoping for the day that Hopgood can get 60 to 70 minutes like he was, and then we can get him for around 500k. But for now, just wait until he does. Jack Williams, another good game from him, 57 points from 73 minutes, but with the try. 73 minutes is really good for him. It's 14 negatives, so could have had a decent score. Um, Look, take away the try, he didn't do too well, but his PPM isn't great. But for sure, he's a decent option. Wouldn't look to bring him in, but for anyone that brought him in this week or the week before, hold him for sure. Kidiana Kartoga, 56 points from 80 minutes, 34 tackles, 188 meters gained. He's just being Mr. Reliable on the edge. Center edge duel. Do you think Kartoga's a decent option, or does he just miss too many buy rounds in the next few weeks?
Yeah, well, he doesn't play 15 and 18, and I feel he is probably maybe maxed out at price. Like you could probably say 600, 650k is where he's maxed out, so I don't have much value there. But yeah, I do think that if you're going to buy him at center and you want him to be a keeper center and think you can, this is probably the week to buy him. But keep in mind, yeah, he doesn't play 15 and 18 there, which kind of puts a damp on his stocks as a keeper center.
Matt Lodge, interesting here. 36 minutes for 54 points. Stay away from Matt Lodge. Riley Smith, 53 points from 80 minutes with six negatives and 55 tackles. Just Mr. Consistent. He's doing it for fun and will be a good hooker option for the next few weeks until round 15. But for now, hold until then. Corey Waddell, 80-minute roll, 52 points. He's going to shoot up some cash if he continues that up. Do you think it could be an interesting option playing 15 and 18, or are you staying away from Corey?
Yeah, he's definitely an interesting option. He when he plays 80 minutes, we really know what he can do, and he killed it last year. The only question is there really 80 minutes? Oh, look, Owatu did play this game. Is it, did Ben Travojevic get injured or does not play?
It was Takiaho got injured with a calf injury. Maybe that's why Waddell got 80.
Yeah,
But
but anyway, if he can keep that 80-minute role, he's a very good buy and a little bit of a cheaper middle or edge player that you could go for in round 13 or round 15 there.
yeah, for sure. Junior Paulo, 50 points, 63 minutes, just pretty consistent. 8 points of negative, so could have had a decent, better score there, but I wouldn't be looking to bring in Paulo. Just hold him if you own him. Neither would Samrani. Tommy Turbo comes back and shows a little bit more form. 40 points from 80 minutes, had a very good second half because he was on about 10 points at halftime. But I still think I can't trust him. And I know a lot of people brought him in, but I still think he's going to get cheaper. And
I
I
disagree.
can't trust him for now. So I'm going to wait until he's
I
in the
think
300 mark.
I
What
think
about
Tom's
you?
a screaming buy. You have to buy him this week. He looked much better. He came very close to scoring a try, and then he had a try assist that got disallowed. And if he gets that try assist, he's into the 50s, and you're like, oh yeah, Tom's back there. I think he ran the ball well, and he showed a little bit more signs of being back to 2021 form there. When Daly Cherry Evans comes back, I think it's just screams more points for Tom Trbojevic there, and a 400k. It's an absolute steal of a buy for a player of Tom Trbojevic's skill that does play around 15 and 18.
I just personally can't trust him. Hasn't done enough this year. If I see another decent game from him, I'll probably jump on, but for now, I might stay away. Looking down here, Ruben Garrick, 34 points, 80 minutes. Look, really a quiet game for him, especially when the Eagles didn't play as well as they could. 8 points are negative. Look, you take a 42 from him, but obviously you're bringing him in for buy round coverage, so you're obviously going to hold him. Moving on here. Oh yeah, Takeaho, calf injury. Don't know the severity, but for me, he's a sell. His break even is going to be high. And Hamoe Kawatu, 30 points here. Another quiet one for him. He's really not doing much, but I think since he hasn't made Origin, you've just got to hold him. He's going to
And
play those crucial rounds for you.
he'll be very
So,
cheap soon, which means he could even be a buy
yeah,
if he shows a little bit more form.
he's got those 70-point games in him. We've seen him twice this year, so obvious easy hold. Moving down, look, anything to talk about? Not really. Dylan Brown, another rubbish game. He's going to get cheap as. Yeah, I think that's all. I think that's all we got to talk about there. Next game. Knights
Wow.
logging against Penrith. This was not expected. Fletcher Sharp coming in with a 98 with a try saver, four line breaks, and 15 tackle busts. That's what happens when you play a natural fullback in his natural position instead of playing him six. That's what he can do. So Sharp at fullback is going to be amazing once Ponga is hopefully doesn't get named for Sharp owners. And I think he's a bit too expensive to bring him in now, but most people own him anyway, so he could be a very good candidate for the best captain. Actually, no, Terrell May is playing. But if Terrell May was out in those bye rounds, Fletcher Sharp will probably be one of the best captaincy choices. Talk us through Dylan Lucas here. Bagged a hat trick and 84 points with 16 points of negative, so could have had 100 himself.
Yeah, he was very, very close to 100 because he had that disallowed try off that line break, but he looked good. I mean, this is what he was always going to be able to do. His base was a little bit down, but I'm not too worried on those missed tackle fronts there. And yeah, I still think he's a very good buy at 750k. This is probably the week to buy him now, though, with that lower break even now. He will skyrocket up to 800k before you know it. And yeah, I think this is the week. If you're going to buy him, you have to buy him this week. But I think you can expect a lot more of this from Dylan Lucas if the Knights can continue this good form.
Lindsay Smith, 60 points from 71 minutes. And with some of the Panthers' guns leaving for Origin, he might get a bigger role. Well, not a bigger role, but they're going to recognize him as one of their better players through this period. 53 tackles in 70 minutes. He did lose cash, but now his break even will be back to normal. Do you have any interest in Smith, or is his buy schedule not good enough for you to bring in?
Yeah, well, I don't think they play 15 or 18, which is a little bit for
Yeah.
me. I'm not going to bring him in, but if you're a head-to-head player, he's a very good player. He still plays massive minutes when he has most of his forwards back here. So yeah, I do think he's a very good bring in. But if you're overall, I would not be bringing him in, considering the fact that they don't play 16 or 15 or 18.
Mm. Ryan Gagai, 58 points. In a great game for him. He's starting to find some form. Look, he could be an interesting center option as the centers, a lot of them are going to Origin, and you can pair him up with Herbie quite easily as he doesn't miss until 18. Do you have any interest in Gagai, or are you going to hold off?
Yeah, well, I've been saying it from round one. When if he got really cheap, I'd look at him. 500k for Gagai is very, very good price there. Probably need one more big game out of him to see him big game from the Knights to see if they're truly back. But personally, with the backline struggles, I do think he maybe could be a smoky for Origin. I do also think that he deserves to be in Origin. So I think that is a little bit of a risk there. But yeah, I do think he's an interesting option and does play around 15.
I don't think he's too old for Origin, but you never know. Origin Gagai's a different beast. But moving down, Kaipius Paul, 50 points from 80 minutes with, again, same as Lucas, 16 points and negative, so he could have had 66. but all in base, no attacking whatsoever, which is nice. Good signs for Paul owners, PS Paul owners. Continue to hold. He'll be great. I'd argue there's better edges instead of him if you want to bring him in, but if you own him, continue to hold. Moving down, not much to talk about there. Yeah, not much to talk about. Liam Henry out for 2 to 3, I think, with a crusher tackle. That's never good. I honestly think he's a sell as he doesn't play 15 or 18, so move him on. Um, Look, Thomas Jenkins, 36 points. Continue to hold.
I think Tom Jenkins is a straight swap to Travojevic cash in the
Oh,
bank
yeah,
and does
you could do that for
he
sure.
does play 15 and 18 there.
I just can't like believe that Travojevic is cheaper than Jenkins. That's why I didn't even think of it.
Yeah,
But moving down, Isaac Tonga, wow, one of the busts of the year, but not much else to talk about there.
yeah, nothing.
I think we just move on to the last game.
Fletcher Hunt, second last game.
Our second last game.
Um,
All right,
next
Roosters
league.
42, Sharks 16. The only team I tipped this week correct was the Roosters. So starting off here, Blake Steep, 68 points from 53 minutes. Getting that bigger minute role, I'm actually very interested in Blake Steep, even though I have a lot of mids and edges already. Do you have any interest in Steep, or is that just me?
Yeah, I do think Steve is interesting. He is one that is probably a little bit overpriced now, I feel. But I mean, at 440k with missing those middle and edges, he probably does get bigger minutes. But I mean, Nafafu White is due back around 14 or 15, where he probably loses minutes there. So I do think that for me, Steep is one that I most likely won't be buying.
Yeah, I might watch him another week, but I guess if you watch him another week, then White's even closer to coming back. So it's either you pull the trigger on him this week or just don't get him at all. Kyle Iro, 59 points, scoring tries for fun. He's a bit like Herbie at the moment. He could with their bye this week afterwards, could be a very interesting option to anti-pod Herbie. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely agree. Hero has absolutely killed it this year. I still don't think you can really anti-pod um, them, but I mean, he's been killing it, and I do think oh, you can't antipod Herbie, but I do think he will score well and probably be the second best center for the whole year.
Yeah, I do agree. Victor Radley, really interesting. 58 points with 18 points of negative, so could have had 76. I've never seen Victor Radley get over 70, so that would have been nuts. Do you have any interest in Radley with the mid-edge duel? Is he just too fantasy irrelevant for you?
No, well, he used to be absolute gun in fantasy, and I do think now that he is probably showing a bit more form, and in the Blake Steep, where he has a lot of his forwards missing, he is quite interesting. Did make that 24k, which for me he probably is a little bit too cheap now, too expensive now to be investing in a just Origin buy. But yeah, I think if you want to pull the guts and have a lot of trades left, he should score quite well.
Yeah, I agree. Cam McInnes, what could have been? This really pissed me off as a McInnes owner. Scored a try, looking good, and they leave him on for 50 minutes, probably due to the fact they were being flogged. But look, if he just got 60 to 65 minutes, he would have easily got 65 to 70 points, which really annoyed me. Scored a try, which helped. 35 tackles. He's Mr. Consistent, so I'm going to continue to hold through the bye. Hugo Savala, one who I started with last week, and it paid off. 2 try assists and a try. Looked great. And 3 missed tackles, but that's okay. Easy hold Savala. He's going to keep shooting up the ranks. I mean, going to keep making lots of cash. Um, James Tedesco, 51 points with the try. He's just doing it for fun. Zero negatives. And look, you'd argue in other games before this, if he scored the try, he's getting near 70 points. So really promising signs for Teddy. All he needs is a few more tackle busts or line breaks or line break assists, and he'll easily be in the 70-point range. So would you say Teddy's still a good buy?
Yeah, Tedesco's still definitely a good buy. He lost 1k this week, but yeah, I mean he didn't get that line break with that try assist, and I mean he's still very hungry for that Origin jersey. I feel so. Yeah, I still think Tedesco is one of the best wing fullback buys for the next couple of weeks, as he also does play round 15 and round 18. That is.
Yeah. Mark Nawangani, look, I don't know what to do with him because we had a lot of people asking me if he was a buy, And I personally don't want to spend 570K on a winger, but he's just proving us wrong every week. He keeps getting try after try, and 12 negatives is a bit concerning. So, do you think it's too late for Mark, and or are you just going to stay away from him completely?
No, I think 600K is way too expensive for Mark. I think you got a lot of other better wing fullbacks that are a lot cheaper, like Turbo and what's his face, Ponga off the top of my head that I would go towards before buying Mark Nakawis. Nez, however you say his last name.
Don't even bother, mate. Don't even bother. Siwa Wong, 47 points from 80 minutes. Anyone who held him's doing well. Continue to hold. Wouldn't look to buy. The 12 points of negatives is a bit concerning. But moving on, Nico Hines. Look, he's just not doing much. That's the problem with him. Once he gets an attacking stat, like proper attacking stats, he can easily get 60. But for now, he's just getting low 50s, which is annoying me. But not too many negatives there. Easy hold. He'll just plug away through Origin and be a good half. Moving on. Talk us through Adam Fanua-Blake, because he was the top most traded in player. Got the decent minutes he needs, just didn't get the output. And didn't do much wrong either. He just had a bit of an off game, a bit of a quiet one.
Yeah, just not really any attacking stats. And for a player like Adam Fanua-Blake, you're obviously going to need the attacking stats, but you also know that when you only get those attacking stats, these are the games that are going to happen. And I think that me bringing in AFB, I kind of appreciated that. If he didn't get the attacking stats, he was going to score a 45. And I think if you're complaining about AFB scoring a 43 in a game like this, then you must have one very, very good fantasy team, because I think that this is the least of your worries for AFB personally.
Yeah, I think AFB's floor is about 40. So,
Yeah.
look, he'll probably bounce back to a 60 to 65 next week. So, easy money. But Egan Butcher, interesting. With Cry now for Origin, he could be an interesting pick, but I'd rather his brother Nat Butcher. Would you agree there?
Yeah, definitely.
Um, Zach Docker Clay, we thought he was the cheapie of the week, and then got moved to the bench, which really annoyed me. And he's still got 36 from 46 minutes, and all he needs is that 60 to 70-minute role, and he's going to make money for fun. So I'm going to keep waiting, and then once round 15 trots along, if he does have that starting role, he'll be my round 15 and 18 hooker. So we'll wait till he gets that starting role. Sandon Smith, easy hold on goal kick, which really helps him. So easy hold there. Lasalu wouldn't be looking at. Kafusi, Talakai, and Burns. Yeah, I wouldn't look at any of them, obviously. And I don't think there's much to talk about left in this game. Brighton Nickera, another awful, awful game. He's going to get really cheap. And hopefully, look at that. 18 points of negative. Jeez. He's going to get really cheap. But for
Yeah,
now,
527K.
yeah,
That's ridiculous.
there's the hooker Llewellyn. Never heard of a bloke, but seemed to put in a decent role, which is not promising for Docker Clay. But I think
Where
there's
was
not
this
much else
hooker?
to talk about from that game.
Oh yeah, Lily there. 30 points.
Yeah, let's move on to the Raiders versus Warriors. What a
Last
game
game.
this was. Not particularly high scoring for fantasy, but we see Jackson Ford up there, 73 points from 55 minutes. Back what he was doing last year. Could be an interesting option with Barnett now gone to Origin. Would you agree?
Yeah, it could be, but I don't really think doesn't play around 15 there, and I think that it's up and down for Jackson Ford. Like one week he goes big, then the next week he gets 30 minutes, and Fisher Harris is back soon from suspension too. So I think it's a luxury trade, definitely. He's kind of chasing those points.
Mm. Yeah, Jamal Fogarty, the last try really helped him. He was looking for another 50-ish point game, but that really helped. Easy hold. Wouldn't look to bring him in. There's other options for that price range. Aaron Clark doing it for fun as always. 61 points again. Too expensive for me to buy, especially with their round 15 buy. So hold if you own him. Morgan Smithies. I would be very interested in Morgan Smithies if I needed another mid, but I don't. But if anyone who needs mid cover from injuries or origin or something, I would recommend Morgan Smithies. Would you agree?
Well, he doesn't play around 15, but yeah, I mean, I think he was a very good buy this week back in the 13 role. Probably maybe a little bit in and out of that 13 role changing, but I mean, when he gets those minutes, he can put up those points there. And I do think he's a little bit underpriced, but for me, I am personally not going anywhere near there, considering the fact that they have around 15 buy.
Yeah, fair enough. Joe Tarpanay, same old, same old. Minutes a bit down, but PPM there again with 6 points no, 10 points of negative. Could have had 65. Metcalf, good. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, want to see a bit more from him. And Corey Horsburgh, 44 points from 51 minutes with a thin bin, which doesn't help. Did get the try assist, but do you think it's time to sell Corey?
I think it could be. He's made his money and isn't really getting those big games there. I do think that now with our 13K kind of down, doesn't play round 15, you can move him on to another very good mid and bank that 119K and those good scores that he's made his owners.
Yeah, he hasn't. You just know what you're going to get from Corey. He's not going to exceed your expectations, but he's not going to fail them really. But moving on, Starling got the try, which really helped him. Really weird game for Starling there. What's that? 22 points of negative. That's the one of the most extreme ones I've seen. I think you still hold Starling him and maybe move him on around 15. Get the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks out of him. Tamale had a slow start and then got some nice tackle busts. Easy hold for me as well. I don't. I think he's probably peaked in value, but with the center wing fullback duel, he's going to be handy. So I think it's a very luxury trade to get rid of Tamale. Wade Egan and Chance, both very poor games from both of them. But obviously hold both. And Hosking, one who was really frustrating. A lot of errors, but in the wet's probably excusable. 37 points from 75 minutes. I brought him in last week, so I'm obviously not going to move him on, and neither should anyone else. So easy hold. Moving on. Matt Timoko thought he'd be an interesting pod, but look, just nothing going for him. And anything else that you want to talk about there down the bottom?
Nah, not really. Xavier Savage, one we spoke about, is maybe a cheaper wing fullback. Did make 14K, but it just shows when he doesn't get those tries. He doesn't score very well. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything covered there. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck to those Queenslanders out there. Come on. And yeah, we'll see you in the next
Come on,
one.
Queensland. Yeah, see you in the buy hold sell tomorrow. I mean, in the round. Oh, um, team was Tuesday. See you
Have
in
a
the
good
team was
one,
Tuesday
guys.
tomorrow, and see ya.
See ya.